Good evening and welcome to Americana, your go-to source for the latest on the 2024 presidential election. I'm your moderator, Raquel Herring, joined by our Democratic host, Shakia Moore, and our Republican host, Willie Montague. The wait is over, and you all know by now that Donald Trump has been elected as the 47th president of the United States. With the election now behind us, there's so much more to unpack. So let's dive right into it. The election results. Joe Biden calls for unity, urging Americans to support democracy even in defeat, and promises an orderly transition of power following Trump's win. Let's take a look.
We're the people. The people vote and choose their own leaders, and they do it peacefully. And we're in a democracy. The will of the people always prevails. Yesterday, I spoke with President-elect Trump to congratulate him on his victory. And I assured him that I'd direct my entire administration to work with his team to ensure a peaceful and orderly transition. That's what the American people deserve.
Shakia, talk about how this message might influence the country's reaction to the election results.
I think it will bring some ease to those who may be on edge. Should Vice President Harris have won, there was a lot of fear and tension, thinking that if she had won, what the reaction of the Republican Party would have been. But since Donald Trump did win, and J.D. Vance will soon be the vice president, I don't think that is no longer the focus right now. I haven't heard any type of rhetoric about there being an unfair election or, the votes weren't counted properly. I haven't heard any of that.
Okay.
And so since he's now the president-elect, I think we're going to see, hopefully, a true peaceful transition of power in January.
Okay.
Well, I actually have heard Representative Eric Swalwell, I think it is, actually said that we will not go out quietly, and he asked for everyone to get prepared to do whatever it takes.
Who said
this is Representative Eric Swalwell. So they are indeed saying that they do not want a peaceful transition, and he told everyone to let's make some noise.
When did that?
Today.
When did he? That was today.
That was today.
Oh, okay, I didn't hear that today.
That was today. So there are individuals that also that I've been reading on the tweets where they're saying there's 20 million missing votes. They're getting lawyers together. They feel like she should have not conceded, and that it was also cheating on our side, and that they do not want to go out quietly. So that is what was literally said, verified government page. He is a representative, and he literally said we will not go out quietly.
That is news to me. I'll have to look that up myself.
What state is he from?
I don't know actually what state he's from.
Okay.
Yeah.
Although many black and brown women across the nation were hoping to see Kamala Harris become the first black female president, there is still a historic breakthrough. For the first time in U.S. history, two black women, Lisa Blunt, Rochester from Delaware, and Angela Also Brooks from Maryland, have been elected to serve in the Senate. Shakia, talk about the potential impact their presence could have on the future of the Senate.
Now, I'm not going to lie, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard because the Republicans do have ownership of the Senate and it looks like the House as well. So it's going to be tough for those sisters, but I'm extremely excited for them. Just 2 years ago, though, there wasn't any black women in the upper chambers of the Senate. And so now they've made history.
Right.
And actually on November 5th, 1968, Shirley Chisholm,
yes,
actually was the first black woman to be elected into Congress. And so for them to also be, elected into Congress on that same day, it was just really monumental. So shout out to my soror, Miss Also Brooks, and then my other Divine Nine sisters. So hopefully they'll do well.
Okay.
Yeah.
In other news, President-elect Trump is ready to make a move on his agenda, with potential staff announcements expected in the coming days. Meanwhile, reports indicate that the special counsel is in discussions with the DOJ about winding down federal cases against him. Willie, what impact could these developments have on Trump's transition into office?
Well, I can say that the DOJ for sure is going to drop these charges. The update is continuing to come in, and also it has been officially announced that he has chosen his chief of staff, which is a woman, and she would be the first woman in history to ever have that particular role as chief of staff. And so I believe that despite people not liking him, I think that he is going to listen and bring in some people of color. He's going to bring in women, and he's going to do it because you do have to remember that he needs at least 10,000 people on his cabinet. So that's a lot of roles to fill. And 4,000 of those particular cabinet individuals, he actually created a website where he wants the voters to help to decide who they think should fill those 4,000 cabinet roles. And so he's doing something a little different than most people have done in presidency before. So I think it's going to be different. I think we're going to actually see what we call the common everyday person get to have a role in some form or fashion.
Okay, what's her name? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. well, let me ask this. Who's the special counsel? Could they just say the special counsel?
Jack Smith, which has been the one after him.
Okay.
So that it's not his people.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the special counsel is actually a
Meeting with the DOJ.
No, the special counsel, Jack Smith,
Okay.
is with the DOJ.
Okay.
And because he's with the DOJ, they are the ones making decision to drop the charges. Now, I can tell you that Jack Smith is no friend of Donald Trump. So this is not someone Donald Trump selected or whatever. It's not like that at all. Jack Smith is not a supporter of President Trump.
Okay.
Yeah, he's definitely not. He's the one that went after him to get the charges in the first place.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, his new chief of staff, right? Susie Wiles.
Thank you. Yes, that's her name, Susan
Yes.
Wiles. Now,
Thank
she
you.
worked on the campaign 2016, 2020. She's been very pivotal in Florida with making sure the elections come in. So he thanked her and said that it wouldn't be possible without her being able to make this victory. And so she was just appointed or selected, however that is, to be the chief of staff.
Okay. Ms. Shakia?
I don't have much to say on that. I'm glad to see that he has a woman, in a leadership role, because that's definitely new. I think she's an older white woman from a picture that I saw. I couldn't remember her name, but yeah, I'm hoping to see that he does well by the American people this second time around. So he wasn't my choice, obviously, but he will be my president, and I'll leave it at that.
Okay. Susie Wiles. Okay. Okay. Are there any legal precedents for a sitting president facing criminal charges? How have similar situations been handled in the past?
I mean, we saw where Bill Clinton was impeached.
Okay,
But
right.
and I want this to be clear, 'cause I think people don't know what I think people think impeachment means you get booted.
Right.
It doesn't work. Impeachment is the same thing as if your job gives you a warning to say, hey, you're not doing what you need to do the next time, whatever. So it's a process it's not just getting the boot. That's why Bill Clinton remained in office past the time of his impeachment. And I can't remember who before, because I think there's only been 3 or 4 impeachments in the entire time of us having presidents in the United States. So it's not something that is easily done. You have to have Congress to do it. Yes, Trump has been impeached 2 times. Yes, he has these charges, but those charges will be dropped. And so, we will see a free man as our president.
Shakia, do you see Trump getting impeached during his presidency?
I
the
don't.
next 4 years?
I
Okay.
don't, because he owns the Senate, the House. He is the president, right? And we're soon going to see Project 2025 come into fruition. And in that document, it laid out the DOJ will go away. So
Wow.
it won't even be an impact for him.
Okay. Okay, well, how might Trump's legal issues impact his policy making and decision making as president?
To Extra Shaquille's point, I mean, President Trump made it very clear, and I do believe that the DOJ has been weaponized against people who are not falling in line with what they want them to do. It's not about the rule of law. It's about coming after people they do not like. So when President Trump's come back and say, hey, okay, y'all weaponizing it, we need to get rid of the weapon. That's how I look. If I'm disarming you from having the ability to attack just off of the presence, you just don't like someone alone.
But where does the accountability come in, though, for your party?
There is accountability, and I think the accountability was shown on Tuesday. That if they felt like he really was this person, because people that went to the polls, it wasn't like they were ignorant of the fact, because there are Republicans, I'm telling you straight up, there are Republicans who were like, no, absolutely not. I'm not voting, or I'm going to vote for, Kamala. There you go,
Look
Kamala
at you.
Harris.
Look at you. I appreciate
Only took me
that.
3 months, but but I'm going to vote. I'm going to vote for her. And so with that, I think that the people saying, you know what, we're going to have to look past it. And then I've heard this from people who are felons who said that they resonated with it because they feel like they don't have rights, and they feel like he's going to come in and change the game when it comes to people who are convicted felons and how it goes.
Well, I'm not gonna hold my breath on that. We're gonna see.
Coming up next, the aftermath from the 2024 presidential election has been trending across all social media platforms. We'll be right back with the latest updates.
I ended early.
Welcome back. The results are in, and Donald Trump has officially won the 2024 presidential election. Reactions from around the world are pouring in. Let's dive into some of the latest social media updates. Many Trump supporters say their main reason for voting for Trump was because of the economy. Let's take a look at some of the election reactions.
It's a mixed reaction, especially in Philadelphia.
I just feel kind of numb.
I'm shocked.
Disappointment.
America wanted Trump in, and they spoke by voting.
Awfully disappointed.
I'm very thrilled.
It is what it is.
What do you think went wrong for Kamala Harris?
I don't know. I think she got a late start.
I feel that she didn't have enough time to do her thing.
I don't think she has as much of a business background or business mindset.
I think also there was a bit of sexism at play, especially since you see like male turnout for Donald Trump versus Kamala Harris.
Speaking of the economy, Shakia, do you believe Kamala Harris should have focused more on the economy rather than putting so much emphasis on abortion?
In a certain aspect, yes, I do. I believe that with her 108 days of campaigning, she had to come out and hit the ground running. So there were so many aspects of the campaign that she needed to touch on. But I do believe she touched on it. She could have touched on it a little bit more, but I think she was hoping and relying on the fact that since abortion was the main topic, that she would be able to sway some of the Republican women to come over and see that they could, you know, have a better life or fair chance of choices, with voting for her. So she came up short, not even just short, she came up extremely short. And so the turnout wasn't where I don't think anyone thought that it would be, unfortunately.
Willie. Okay.
I could definitely see that. I could already see the trajectory of this campaign being disastrous because of the fact that, and you know, don't just take as a Republican. I've been reading Democrats have shifted the blame towards Joe Biden because they felt like he waited too long. And we ourselves have said as Republicans that he was then, and I know, you know, not ageism, but, you know, everyone saw the decline happening, right? And I think that we as Republicans got more of the kickback who was like, oh, well, you know, Trump is 78 and you know, what difference does it make? But Trump was not in office. And so we were saying like, okay, you know, let there be some kind of clear actual fight that's going on. And because it waited so long to after the first debate, as the lady said, you know, I think, you know, would it have been different if she had more time? I think it would have been a lot closer. But I just believe that she should have really focused more on the economy. And I think that she raised over $1 billion, right? But a lot of that money was spent on all of these celebrities. And I think that she should have just not brought those celebrities on. I don't think it was, I don't think the money was, a majority of the money was spent on celebrities. I think a lot of it had to do with ads regarding abortion or regarding her economic plan. I think that was where a lot of her resources went. Did some of it go to the celebrities in her concerts and those things? Absolutely. But I think she was really relying on like the untraditional media to get the Gen Zers, but Gen Zers actually turned out in greater numbers for Donald Trump. And so I want to go back to something that you said too, Willie, about the ageism thing. Yes, the Democratic Party should have definitely pulled Uncle Joe aside and say, hey, you know, let's have a little talk. And they probably did have that talk, but I think, you know, he was thinking that he could probably pull it together and it wouldn't have been as bad until it was actually too late. But Donald Trump ain't that far off from an age as Joe Biden is. And so I've been saying this for a while as well. Once he get into office, the health decline for Donald Trump, because I believe that there's something underlying there, J.D. Vance will actually take the throne. And so I think that's been the plan the entire time. He's young, he's eloquent in speech, you know, he has a lot of oomph behind him and charisma. So we may see something in the next 2 years. I don't know. Not wishing death on Donald Trump. I'm not saying that. Let me make that clear. Not wishing nothing ill upon that man.
Yesterday, we briefly touched on the demographics behind Trump's victory. Many were surprised by the shifts within traditional Democratic bases, including women, youth, and people of color, which played a crucial role in his win. Let's take a look at this clip circulating social media with people explaining why they voted for Trump.
I like the tax cuts that he's proposed for businesses that are already paying a lot in taxes.
I voted for Donald Trump today, and I voted for him because the last 4 years weren't really great with the border, with inflation, with foreign policy.
I didn't like paying $5 per gallon at one point. Still up 50%. Groceries are up. Rent is up. Pretty much everything's up.
I think he's going to straighten out the economy, the inflation, straighten out the border, almost everything.
Beyond key swing states like Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin, Trump made significant inroads nationally with these groups. Will he talk about what this shift in voter demographics means for the future of Trump's presidency?
I think that everyone, Republican or Democrat, was very shocked at these demographics and how they swinged in President Trump's favor. I think what this shows is that there's a new generation rising, and they are aware, they are alert, and what I would say that I think he needs to capitalize off of that. And to what Shakir said earlier about having, slightly older lady that's as the chief of staff, I think he really should focus on trying to putting some younger people of color and women, black and brown, in these positions, because that is what's going to keep us the ability to stay forward. And this is why I say this. He has the presidency, but get this, in 2 years, it's time for an election again for Congress. And some of the senators, I think there should be some senators coming up. But with that, we're going to have to do it all over again. Not presidential, but he's going to be able to have to either keep the House, keep the Senate. And so I think that if we're seeing this, I think the Republican Party needs to take this and say, we have a great chance here. Let's take these demographics. Let's put them in place of leadership. Let them keep the momentum and engagement. And let's keep winning for, at least the next 8 years or so. So I think that's very important to his presidency.
Well, what factors contributed to Trump's lead in the popular vote this election compared to his previous campaigns?
I think his marketing was consistent. It didn't just start 10 months ago. It didn't just start, even a year ago. His campaign started like 2-3 years ago. Like actually, when he left, it started, right?
Didn't.
And so, there we go. And so he was consistent in his messaging. His tweeting was consistent. Erratic, chaotic, but it was consistent, right? And so we always saw him in the news. We always heard about him on social media in some capacity. And so he was in our faces whether we wanted it or not. And it captivated, in addition to his hateful rhetoric, right? And it ignited people who also share in those same ideologies to continue lifting his rhetoric, right? So instead of him doing it, it was in different pockets of the United States. And so that caught on like a wildfire, and here we are having him as the president-elect. But since we're on social media, I do want to lift up two things, though. There was an email that went out to a number of Black students on a college campus that said that, hey, you've been selected to go to a plantation and pick cotton. Meet us at such and such at 5 p.m. to go to your plantation spot. Have you heard about that? I promise you, and I wish I would have submitted that as like evidence, but it's floating around on social media now.
Wow, don't y'all go?
Listen, ain't no plantation. we are not our ancestors.
Don't do no Alice
Don't get it twisted.
antebellum stuff. Don't do it.
And then the second thing that I saw on social media was that there is a company in Pennsylvania that the owner of the company had a conversation with them yesterday saying like, hey, since Trump was elected into office, you won't be receiving your Christmas bonuses because we are now having to import all of the goods before the tariffs actually hit.
Oh my
So
goodness.
a lot of people are now starting to see like we, the consumers, will be the one responsible for the tariffs. And so a lot of the employees of that factory are pretty upset.
Oh.
Interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Willie.
Well, I'll say this.
We have AI that can explain how tariffs work. We have AI that can explain anything to you if you don't know.
Right. I would say that, for someone to move that quick with their jobs, I mean, he's not sworn into office till January 20th. And so I don't know why they would not want to give a Christmas bonus, saying that Christmas is December 25th. But, nonetheless, now with that, now we do know that people are going to put something, and I want people to be aware, because I do believe you got people that, I said this last week, that is going to try to stir up these type of things to get a divide, because I've seen so many people like, we need to get ready, we like they're waiting for a fight. And I just think that we just really need to despite who's in the office, we need to find a way to really just get into a place of peace. Because we do need to have some kind of I know personally, I'm tired of arguing and fighting. There's so much more that can be done in these 50 states that we can do a lot better.
Well, people are nervous about these tariffs because he said he loves the word tariffs. Tariffs he loves. That's what he said, right? So how do people take it? I mean, should they expect these tariffs to be raised I mean, to happen? Should they expect them to be at the level he has said he's going to put tariffs? What should people be doing?
Raquel, I don't think so.
Oh.
Real fast. I don't think so. We'll talk about it later, but I don't think so.
Oh, yeah, you're right. We gotta go, y'all. Man, we was getting on them tariffs. Okay. We'll talk about it tomorrow. The race between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris has certainly kept us on our toes. Now we have the results. And look, if you have something to say, what do you think? Tell us what the future holds for America. Stay tuned. Come back tomorrow. Drop us a line. I got to move quick. We'll be back tomorrow. Thank you for watching Americana. I was like, bloop.